The Mannin Line with Andy Wint.
Mannin Line's on the air now. Your chance to have your say by calling 66 13 68. You can send a message in via text or WhatsApp on 166 177 or email studio@maxradio.com. And we're an open line today, so whatever's on your mind. Any thoughts on the bus strike, by the way? As of 3 o'clock this morning, the 10-day bus driver strikes come to an end. For now, anyway, although further industrial action is planned as the dispute over pay and contracts continues. Over the past 10 days, one service that's seen a sharp rise in demand on the island is Lift Share. It's a website helping people arrange lifts with one another and seems to have done very well. Amy Young is the person from Lift Share. Amy is behind this and says really it's just on the up and up.
Lift Share is one of Mobility Way's products that aims to reduce commuting emissions, but actually as a social enterprise, Mobility Ways offers Lift Share for free for members of the public to use to be able to find carpooling matches, and we liken it to a dating platform because you can add your journey onto the platform, find somebody else to share with, and then you can just take the conversation offline and meet them up and share with them either one-off or regularly. We've got well over 700,000 members now, and people can use it anywhere in the world. We have the most members in the UK and Ireland, but yeah, we've spoken with the Isle of Man government and created a Lift Share page for them so that they could get the word out on Isle of Man as well.
So how long have you had a presence here on the island then?
We created the landing page only in September 2025 last year, and initially we saw about 700 page visitors last year, and then this year it's really ramped up, and most of those, so over 1,000, were in the last week since the bus strikes.
Gosh, so that's really had a big impact then on the use of the site at least.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, people just need an alternative. So Lift Share is suitable for drivers and passengers, and somebody can post a journey as either, or they can say, yeah, I'm happy to be both a driver and a passenger. So it's really helpful for people who want to share a journey to save perhaps petrol costs, or people who otherwise, don't have a car, or things like bus strikes, they need to find an alternative.
And what kind of safeguarding measures are in place as well, just to try and keep it as safe as possible?
So we advise people that whenever they first share with somebody, meet them in a public place, perhaps go for a coffee, let friends and family know that you're going. You can also check their driving licence, and if you input their car registration on DVLA, you can check their insurance details as well.
Have you used this, by the way? Have you used this Mobility Ways Lift Share? And I just wonder what the impact has had. We've had a word apparently from the government, the DESC, say that the bus strikes had very little effect on attendance at schools. Now, I don't know about you, but has there been a groundswell of support either way for this? What's the thought on it? Obviously, everybody wants the bus drivers to be treated fairly, wants a sense of fairness in all this. But how do we? What do you think the way forward is? If it's just going to be industrial action after industrial action after industrial action, what's going to do? And presumably the private sector, Opal, I think, bought Tours Isle of Man, so Opal must be soaking up a lot of the demand for this. Any thoughts? Text, email, call, WhatsApp. What an informative programme, says Harry. With the Chief Constable, make me realise by the comments we've got some uninformed people here who can't see what should be obvious to them. The Chief Constable is and should be a very qualified authoritarian figure and should be welcomed with open arms. I feel safer now knowing that officers are better equipped and capable to stop an inevitable attempt. We should wake up The world is a very different place to the sleepy backwater island that we all know and love. And whatever we do, we mustn't let homegrown children here start copying the ones across, says Harry. Well, apparently researchers said that happens in that children and young people in rural areas often copy urban behaviours. I don't know what it is, whether it's wanting to appear to be trendy, but I just wonder what your thoughts are with that. Do you think our young people in any way copy urban behaviours from across, or just watching the television? A note from 376. It's short and sharp, and take it as you find it. Let's do away with the buses, says 376. Well, you would have thought the government, with our net zero ambitions, and public transport is an essential part of our net zero ambition. If we don't have public transport, what do we do? And if the drivers aren't driving the public transport, what's going to happen? We haven't heard much from the Green Party about that. We haven't heard much from the Green Party about anything recently, to be quite honest. Are you aware that the area of the TT grandstand are repainted every year? If the works were carried out as per specifications, they'd be every 2 years, says Pat. The problem is that nobody checks the works, and it appears to be a job set up. Why doesn't the government look at what our taxes are being spent on, says Pat. Well, the one thing that's not brand new at the grandstand are those vinyl signs. They're still, I mean, how old are some of those vinyl signs? Why don't the buses let people from Glenmona with a mobility scooter on the bus? I can't walk and I rely on my scooter, says Julie. Let's get to the lines. I think we've got... Oh, Robert's with us now. Hi, Robert.
How you doing?
Well, terrific, thank you. It's a lovely day, isn't it?
Yeah, I was thinking what you were saying about the Green Party. I mean, really, all they are is an offshoot of the UK Party. They're nothing Manx, really. They don't have much gravitas towards anything real and corporeal on the Isle of Man towards Manx issues.
Well, there were a couple of representatives, I think, of the Green Party around, but you don't hear much of them these days. So if the Isle of Man Green Party is around, pipe up.
Yeah, they don't say much. I don't give them much credence, really. I think, is it the Woodlands organisation, or the people who do the trees, are the main people who are behind all of the green issues that meet in the Green Centre every Saturday morning. But what I wanted to talk about was I'm really happy that Willaston have got their act together and got some housing sorted. I mean, that's a really good news. And I was on to David Creighton last night having a chat with him, and he was doing well, and he was really happy. You know, I'm really impressed. The only thing is, it all seems to be Douglas centrist. There doesn't seem to be anything happening outside of Douglas, which is, given a lift.
Well, the thing is that 40% of the population of the Isle of Man lives in Douglas, Onchan and Braddon. So it's it's inevitably going to be centred around where the population is, most of the population.
I don't know. I think there's more intelligence outside of Douglas than there is in Douglas, to be honest with you.
Where do you live?
Well, I don't want to say, but I mean, I'm a Derby man originally. I'm from the fields.
Right.
So, I'm out in the west. But I mean, I'm quite happy, saying that, a lot of the stuff that's happening in Douglas at the moment. There doesn't seem to be a lot happening outside of Douglas. And it seems to be quite a centrist government towards... it's a Tory government at the moment. We got on the Isle of Man. And they'd say they're all independents. There's no Conservative Party on the Isle of Man. There's a Labour Party and there's a Green Party. Oh, come on.
That's your lot, isn't it?
Oh, come on, Andy, get a grip. I mean, it's a right-wing institution as the symbols at the moment. There's no question about it. It's right-wing.
And how do you make that out?
Well, it just is. It's all the Canaanites getting together and dissing the Manxies and just doing themselves away with the Londonites and all the rest of it.
Can you be a bit more specific, Robert?
Well, I mean, Apple Street at the moment is just there for London. It's not really there for anyone else. You know, the vast majority of services which happen in Douglas go off island, and we just let ourselves out to other people, don't we?
What about all the people who work
it.
on Athol Street, the Manx people who work on Athol Street and get paid and pay tax and pay national insurance?
I agree there are jobs, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's there to service other people. You know, we service other people.
Well, that's what financial services are about.
Yeah, but I mean, it doesn't really serve local interests. We want to have more instances, provide local accountability and stuff like that for the Isle of Man.
I'm not following you, to be quite honest. If financial services are us serving other people, what's wrong with that?
They're outside the island. They mostly serve London.
Right. And if we didn't serve them and served ourselves, do you think we'd be as prosperous as we are?
I think we'd be more secure.
Right. Okay.
I think we'd have more of a base to supply industry and business and things like that, and get ourselves on 3 feet again. I think we need to look local. But my main point was the fact that it's all Douglas Central. It's all Central Douglas. You know, it's centrist Douglas thinking, and needs to be outside of Douglas. Needs to get out beyond the pale. Do you know what I mean?
Well, that's where the commissioners, there are lots of other commissioners. If you're saying that they need to get their act together, then I'm sure they've heard you. But I mean, they all want more social housing, but there have to be plans, and there has to be money around. There've been no social houses built. What really new socials are, apart from the Willaston lot, there's been nothing really brand new built for years, Robert.
I agree with you. I mean, I just think we need to get it together. We need to build more social houses. We need to allow for... I mean, didn't we talk last time about that place up above Onken? Up at... what's it called now? Bala something up in the fields up there. And there's space up there that could be used. So, I mean, there are places around that can be used. We just need to get on with it, really. So
when prospective candidates come knocking on your door for their vote, Robert, what are you going to say to them?
Yeah. Well, I think we should have more social houses. As a Republican, I think we should adopt a position whereby we have more influence on our population to allow for more Manxness and more localisation and more Manx community. I think that needs to come about, and I think we need to have more gravitas towards local issues.
Okay, all right, appreciate it. Robert, have a good day. Thanks for calling.
Bye.
The new flats in Willaston have cost £250,000 each, according to Roy B. I don't know where Roy B got the information from, but we'll take that as Roy's opinion. How long before the taxpayer gets that back? That's before maintenance. It's insane and far too luxurious. Who signed that level of luxurious spending off? Apparently Roy B is disgusted. Douglas City Council says the new social housing development of Willaston is everything it wanted to achieve in one building. The local authorities spent £11 million on the new apartment block, 48 flats, and that'll take roughly 88 people off the waiting list. So surely that's a good thing, isn't it? I haven't thought about the fact that the workers coming here to live and work with their family and some children have not been brought up in a society where gun and knife crime is rife, and they're used to it, hopefully, not too ingrained in their children or young teens, where some of them see it as a way to make a name for themselves. Are children checked for criminal records before they're allowed to move here? I'm not saying it's rife or going to be a problem, but I think there are issues that should be addressed. That's texter 004, and Julian joins us now. Hello, Julian.
Hi, Andy. It's a beautiful day, isn't it? That's a really perfect day.
Isn't it gorgeous? Perfect. Apparently, Big John says this is exactly why we need solar power and we need wind power. But the wind's not blowing today.
Right. No, that's right. And I don't know what we'll do in the winter with solar. Speaking of the lovely sunshine, if anybody's walking along Duke Street at the moment, from what I can see, if that new building is about 36 metres or 120 feet high. It's going to cast a shadow over 200 yards long, which I would estimate in the winter, when the sun never really gets up that high, you're going to be in shadow all the way to Marks and Spencer's from there, I would guess. So goodbye to seeing any sunshine along Duke Street in the winter time when that thing goes up.
So, I mean, do you think it's a good idea? Because let's face it, that thing has been empty now for, 30-odd years. I mean, it's an absolute ice. We're used to it, but, and it's, people may think it's a Banksy exhibition, but really it's a hole in the ground, Julian.
Yeah, I mean, there's an argument for it. I just, I don't know where the word vernacular went in planning. Nobody worries about, say, the side of the Peveril building with the Art Deco. I mean, that looks nice, but there's usually some sort, especially with a historic town like Douglas, and you've got, churches and stuff around, you'd think that, a lot of the places are Manx stone and brick and slate roofs. It's kind of, it's not exactly in keeping. Even if it had to be 12 stories high, it's a shame that they couldn't have tried a little bit harder to make it kind of fit in, if you know what I mean.
Well, they could. That may change. It may be that they put a giant 3 legs of man incorporated into the design, or a big Viking or something. But the fact is, at what point do we say is enough, and let's develop brownfield sites, Julian?
No, that's right. And also, I do question, how many people are they really going to go for 100,000 when there's all, waiting lists for healthcare and all the rest of it that we've talked about? I don't know if you've got all these. Who is this going to be for? And then they're talking about hotels when it's getting more and more expensive to get here.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But Julian, have you seen the Bay Queen? Have you seen the job they've made of the Bay Queen? That's huge.
Yeah, it's a very good job, actually. I was looking at it the other day, and they've done. I mean, that's a nice building. I don't know. I can't really complain at that one. The nice finish on it, the car parking in front looks all very neat and everything. Yeah, but it was big in the first place. In fact, I think probably it might even have been bigger, because those sorts of those Oriental-looking roof things, there was a set on the other end, wasn't there? Whereas this one is on one end, I seem to remember. Yeah. Something that might be mentioned in Tynwald. I've been listening this morning, so I don't know if the question has been raised. Do not resuscitate orders. I noticed March last year, a man's family, after his death, had no idea that a do not resuscitate order had been placed on him. And in November, ITV covered a story where many people with learning difficulties had been assigned a do not resuscitate notice without consulting either the patients or the family. And I've seen personally 3 sets of these on the island where the family has no idea. It said, I seem to remember, does the patient have capacity? No. What do the family say? And it's been left blank. So it appears, from what I've seen in evidence, that it's not just the UK this is happening, but over here, I don't know if anyone else has seen anything.
No, I've not heard anything. Well, if anybody else has heard, then by all means do get in touch.
Yeah. I suppose semi-related is, I see that Dr. Allinson has indicated that the assisted dying bill will require self-administration of the drugs that will be required, but we don't know what they are yet, of course. But that's an interesting, because the explanatory memorandum originally said, I think it was section 7, was talking about an injection from the doctor, but obviously that's been removed from that, so things have changed a little bit with that one. And I suppose sideways to that one, I hear that the Safe Access Zone and Protected Public Spaces Private Members Bill put forward by Michelle Hayward will be getting discussed again in Tynwald. And I hope that that's not going to be rushed through at the end of the administration, rather like the Climate Change Act was in July of 21, just shortly before you had the election. So the Access Zone Bill needs to be really looked at, and the reason why you need to have a bill that has a sort of a catch-all any other activity on it that can be done by the department. So there's a few bits and pieces going on at the moment where we're getting to the end of this administration. I just hope that there aren't things, like the wind farm at Caervai. We hope that they don't all of a sudden rush things through right before there's a change in the administration.
So, I mean, how do you see Caervai progressing? Obviously, we've heard in the past you're not too keen about it. What do you think the possibilities are, or the probabilities of Caervai actually happening?
Well, it would be nice if the MUA would be honest about the amount of energy that would be generated, the visual impact of having 4 or 5 bigger than Blackpool Towers right over that will be highly visible from miles around, all the way from Port Erin all the way around to Santon. The financial case for it hasn't been made. There's these crazy 3 times the energy of any other wind farm in the whole of the UK. Due to special qualities, whatever that is. It'd just be nice to have an honest answer. And again, the interconnector, is that we're going to be hoisted to an interconnector that's going to be 350 million plus? Is the wind farm going to spiral out of control like the Liverpool ferry terminal? Is it going to be 120 million for that? Are we in for $500 million for something that's only going to work to the time?
So have they ever mentioned, I mean, there's obviously going to be a visual impact, but has anybody ever said anything about the noise that may be generated? Because I think with Caervai, it's at the top of a hill, so effectively there's an auditorium underneath it.
Yeah, well, you and I have had a chat about that, and it's not just the stuff you can hear, it's the infrasound, which is why they had to compensate all those houses. You remember on Lee Terrace when they first put in the Iris and
I think Julian's disappeared. Thank you, Julian. Maybe it's the wind farm. Got rid of the signal. We'll try and get you back, Julian. Should the Lord Street complex get permission to go ahead without enough parking and no affordable housing or commuted sum, does this leave the government open to more legal action by one or more of the developers who've seen their projects refused for the same reason? I believe they mentioned that all the parking, the multi-storey parking, was for all the flats inside there. So I think there is enough in terms of car parking. Devon Watson speaks more sense than most of our too-scared fence-sitting MHKs. He's 100% on the decision regarding the bus station. Next stop, the Lord Street flats. Bravo, Devon. And Devon Watson says the development will, this is from Phil, who just said, development says, Devon says it will cost £11 million for 48 apartments, 230,000 each. Thomas Kegg Apartments on Peel Road for a similar size apartment, rent rates and water rates, £135 per week. That'll mean it'll take 32 years to pay off £11 million, by which time will it be time to demolish and rebuild. It'll be interesting to see how the 230,000 per apartment is broken down. These are the Willaston ones. And I think we found Julian again. Have you plugged your phone in, Julian?
Oh, no, it cut off in my prime, Andy. I could hear you, but I'd obviously, gone into the ether, but I'm back.
Right, we were talking about the sonic impact, the sound impact and vibrations, from your opinion anyway, about what would happen with a wind farm at Erie Stane.
Yeah, and that is the blind spot, because the way that the environmental impact study, they're only looking at sounds that you can hear, within our auditory range, but infrasound is way below that, 10 times lower. So they don't even have the equipment to detect it, and also it's also the where it is. It has to be in the house, and it's almost like those waves, the impact on the house, like a drum. You've got to be in the house with the specialist stuff to actually hear the effect. But they say that the studies that have been done, like Robert Rand, the auditory guy in America, the actual sound, if you could hear it, would be as loud as a Hoover in the room with you, like a vacuum cleaner. So, but you can't actually hear it because it's below, but you can feel it, if you see what I mean, and it's keeping people awake at night. So, I don't know, it's almost like a loaded dice, because they say, well, we can't hear anything with our equipment, but it's a bit like listening to a bat. You have to have the little detector that picks up the right frequencies. Okay. So it's kind of that, but yeah. Anyway, thanks, Andy.
Good to hear from you. Thank you, Julian. The ongoing bus driver strike is now off. It finished at 3 o'clock this morning. Unite the Unions announced following strike dates this Friday, the 6th of March, till next Tuesday, the 10th of March. They've also announced Friday the 13th of March to Tuesday the 17th, Friday the 20th to Tuesday the 24th, and Friday the 27th to Tuesday the 31st. So there are more contingency strikes in the pipeline. Bus Vannin's limited contingency timetable coped. People were sharing lifts. Private hire was happening. The taxis were going round the clock. But where do we go from here? What do we do? Is this going to be something that's going on forever, or is it a case of, do you remember there used to be a thing called binding arbitration then? What happened to binding arbitration? Is this ever going to be sorted? Somebody somewhere's got to make a compromise, whether it's DOI or Unite the Union.
This is the Isle of Man talking, the Mannin Line.
Getting to your ideal weight can be a journey full of ups and downs, dead ends and diversions. But at Kingsley Mooti, we can keep your weight loss journey moving in the right direction with dedicated support throughout from our in-house clinical team and treatments tailored to your specific needs. Start your online consultation today at kingsleymooti.com or call 625040 to book an appointment with our trusted team. Rated 5 stars by over 100 patients. Kingsley Mooti. Your health, our commitment.
SMS Trading. New and second-hand furniture from flat pack to fully built. See our range at 3 St Paul Square, Ramsey. All island delivery and man in a van service available. Call SMS Trading on 315151 or find SMS Trading on Facebook.
Stock arriving weekly at Ramsey Garden Centre. Discover potted spring bulbs, summer bulbs, seed potatoes, onion and garlic sets, wildflower seeds, sweet pea, microgreens, plantable biodegradable pots and propagation essentials. Grow smarter, greener, season after season with Ramsey Garden Centre.
Visit Ramsey Art Gallery for a fabulous range of top brand watches and stunning gold and silver jewellery, gifts for all occasions, and of course our gallery of prints and original artworks. Find all this and more at Ramsey Art Gallery, Jewellers and Engravers, opposite the RNLI shop.
Sun, sea, and absolutely no stress. With Fly Direct, your perfect getaway starts the moment you take off from Ronald's Way. Whether it's an Algarve golf tour, a romantic break in Ibiza, or an adventurous road trip in Andalusia, it's your time to unwind. Book a full package holiday, a simple return flight only, or even just a one-way. Pick your dates, pack your swimsuit, and make it a summer to remember. Fly Direct. No stops, just summer 26. Visit flydirect.co.uk.
Have you got your Manx Radio Gold open and closed door sign on display? If you put the sign in the entrance of your business, you could win 3 months of free advertising on Manx Radio Gold in 2026. Need a door sign? Email sales@manxradio.com and we'll get one straight to you. And if your door sign is already up, send us a photo and we'll put your business into the prize draw. Manx Radio Gold is the perfect soundtrack for your workplace with fewer interruptions and only the greatest hits on earth on your smart speaker and at gold.manxradio.com.
Manx Radio Gold. The Mannin Line with Andy Wint.
Thank you, John. Talking of huge hotels, the 13-storey Grand Hotel in Scarborough dominates the town. The new bus station development will have a good side effect, protecting shoppers from winter winds, says John. Ian said, I'd like to offer my services regarding left and right politics. If that caller believes we have a right-wing government, I've got a bridge he can buy. Population increase and net zero policies are not policies that many would call right-wing. Left would be a more accurate description. The daffodils are out. Keep smiling. Sean, I've just heard a comment regarding the TT Grandstand. The contract is out again now, and as it is every year, it's all for all the interior and exterior areas. Offices, shops, garages, the tower, media centre and grandstand. I do why it goes out every year. I'm also a contractor who's tendered for these over the years, but never had a look in. It appears the contract's been awarded to the same company for at least the last 20 years. Is that true, Sean? Something doesn't seem right. It's normal practice for a contractor to guarantee their work for a period of time, and for it to be repainted every year seems a bit of a waste of money. Or are the works being done properly? That's Sean's opinion. I don't know whether you've got anything to add regarding the upkeep of the TT Grandstand. Manx Care has a resuscitation policy which has been developed with explicit reference to the European Convention on Human Rights, says James, including the right to life, respect for private and family life, and protection from discrimination. It ensures that decisions are lawful, ethical, transparent, and made on an individual basis rather than on discriminatory grounds such as age, disability, or frailty alone. If a decision is not accepted by the patient or those close to them, the policy states that a second opinion should be offered whenever possible. We were talking about DNRs, do not resuscitate. Have the bus drivers actually said what they want? There has to be some compromise on both sides, says Andrea. If the working conditions and contracts aren't fit for purpose, this needs to be addressed. However, if there's no clear list of requirements, where do they start? By the way, the roads have been a lot quieter and traffic's moved a lot better during the strike, says Andrea. We only ever hear Unite the Union saying it's not fair and this, we don't really know, do we? Is it more money? Is it more time off? What is it? Is it the fact that at the moment, to make up what they would think is a reasonable wage, the bus drivers have to do overtime and have to do weekend work and double up on time and a half or double time? Andrea, we take your point. What is it that the bus drivers actually want, other than a better deal? The drivers, apparently, we've looked into this, they've been clear about what they're asking for. According to the recent report, Unite says the dispute centres on fair and consolidated and pensionable pay parity between full-time, part-time and relief drivers, and contract terms they believe properly reflect the hours worked. Do you understand what that means? The Department of Infrastructure and Bus Vannin, that's the government, have confirmed that 6 formal pay offers have been made since November. 6 pay offers have been made since November, including changes to hourly rates and one-off payments, but those have been rejected by the union. Some details of proposed figures were reported online recently after being circulated more widely, but the core disagreement remains about pay structure and long-term fairness rather than a single headline number. You see, that's where it gets obfuscatory, doesn't it? It gets a little opaque, translucent. Long-term fairness. What does long-term fairness mean? Anyway, talks are continuing through the Manx Industrial Relations Service, so that there's a defined list of issues on the table. The question now is whether both sides can shape those into a compromise that works operationally and financially. And, I might add, for the passenger. Really, because there seems to be the government on one side, the union on the other side, and the passenger is standing at the bus stop waving. Who are the buses actually for? Right, text, email, lots of questions to get through, lots of stuff that we've been researching here. So let's see. Regarding the bus drivers' contracts, why did Unite accept the contracts in the first place? Says Andy. So there we are. David's on now. Hello. How much are you generating today?
I've got a full battery. That's why I'm ringing you.
Oh, right.
Can you hear me? That's the main thing for a start.
Loud and clear.
See, Manx Utilities are looking for expressions of people who've got land, which has got a criterion to put panels on.
Yeah.
Now, don't we have a load of schools and public buildings, and maybe local authorities would be the same, have investment in where, likes of Bemeg School and the Onkers St. Ninian School and stuff like that, they'll all have big 3-phase supplies in there, and they're going to be lying all summer when the summer holidays are on, producing electricity, or could be producing electricity, and making a better effort to our green environment.
Well, you would think so. We've talked. I mean, you've been bringing this up for ages now. The fact that, I mean, all the high schools are big. I mean, some are bigger than others. Ballacameen's got some big roofs. QE2's got some big roofs, as has Ramsey Grammar School. It's always the sun always shines in the north. So you would think that might be at least a start.
Yeah, and I don't know why, and I'm not going to criticise DEFA now, or the DEFA minister, but didn't she promise to have a new scheme coming out where we can actually claim more modern equipment instead of draft insulation and insulation in a loft and stuff like that. We've gone past all that now, and we should be able to get, if you want to get your house up to date, or businesses want to get up to date, investment into that sort of technology. It's fairly common now. You can buy it, and I'm sick of these people ringing up all the time from England saying, we can give you free panels on the roof. All you got to do is join. And when you say to them where you live in the Isle of Man, we're not accepted.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh, I know, yeah. I know all about that, yeah.
How much generation are you producing from Manx Radio?
Oh, crikey. I don't know. Nobody tells me that. I'm far down the food chain where that's concerned, but we've got plenty. I know that.
Yeah, but you've got an app. I can look at the app now and it says my battery is absolutely chock-a-block full. And I've got surplus coming out now, which is powering the house. So it's fairly simple, and I don't know why we're not getting the politicians. The next lot, hopefully, will get on top of it and produce this thing. But Manx Utilities need to up the game a little bit and say to them, like, why can't we assess all those schools we've got and all the public buildings and make a start?
That's a very good point, because they're asking people who've got 5 acres, minimum of 5 acres, and it's got to be, it hasn't got to be shaded or anything like that. So how much do the Manx Utilities pay for your electricity, David?
I get 9p back. They're miserable sod, aren't they? At the end of the day. But, I mean, what it is, I invested my money into something which I think has got a future in, and is working technology. It's like all these different things where you insulate a building, you get modern heating in there. I can switch from one to the other, from electric to oil. And, the price of oil and gas is going to go through the roof, isn't it?
Apparently, the wholesale price has doubled. It's gone up 95%.
Yeah. So we've got to be looking at something which is... and there's companies, before anybody starts, there's companies in the Isle of Man that are producing them. I got mine done from a company called Live Electrical, as a good plug for them. They were great. They came in, told me what it was going to be, and I had a price for it. They held the price and got a battery. And what annoyed me even more is when I asked for help, or we asked for help for a football organisation I'm with there, for a battery, because we weren't a business or we weren't a domestic unit, they couldn't give us any help. But I was expecting the DEFA minister to bring a new scheme forward which would help the community and put some money back into the community, and we could shove it back in by producing electricity cheaper.
You would have thought as well, because they've put forward a load of money to upgrade the athletics and the bowl pitch and what have you by the NSC. The NSC has a huge roof. How come surely they could put a few solar panels on the NSC roof?
Yeah, it's just something, having that leap of faith and saying that, we're going to do it. I just can't believe them, really. It's there for the giving. It's there for us to get involved in. And there is people on the island, and I hope that they do come on and say to them. I remember the guy from down south, I can't remember his name now, has a wind turbine. And I'd love a vertical turbine you can get nowadays. They're fairly cheap now. You can produce electricity from that. So when people say to me, you're not going to get electricity when the darker nights come, it blows all the time, doesn't it? And I'm in favour of the offshore thing towards Onken and Mackledway out to sea there. It's going to take years and years and years. And why can't we be part of it?
Okay. All right.
We'll see when the planning comes in.
All right. Good to hear from you.
Hey, boy.
Cheers, man. Thanks for being with us. It's 17 minutes before 1. And thank you to Pam, who just said, can you tell us about the pay offers that were made to the buses? Do you really want me to go? There are 6 of them, pay offers. Recent pay proposals have been put to the bus drivers based on a letter which we saw at Manx Radio reporting on the negotiations between Unite and the DOI. The first offer was November last year. A weekend rate of time and a third, £21.41 before the 3% pay award for all drivers, with a proposal to modernise terms and working practices. This included consolidation of the shift disturbance allowance into the weekend rate. Rejected. Second offer, by Christmas last year, extra pay of £1 per hour on Saturdays, that's £17 and 6p, and £2 on the Sundays, and bank holidays 18 and 6p, £18 6pence, and some alignment of sick pay. Rejected. Third offer, February this year. Consolidated weekend rate of £16.88 per hour, plus weekend premiums of £1.20 on Saturday and £2.20 on Sundays and bank holidays, and a one-off £200 payment for some drivers, alongside improvements to rostering and pay timing. Rejected. Fourth offer, a single flat rate of £17.20 per hour for all hours worked, with supporting changes in rostering and leave processes. Rejected. Fifth offer, £17.20 per hour, with a plan for new starters to move to monthly pay immediately, others by September, and working groups to look at rostering, holiday and sick pay arrangements. Rejected. The sixth and most recent pay offer was last month, February, a consolidated rate of £16.84 per hour for all hours, with an unconsolidated £1,000 one-off payment for full-time drivers, plus monthly pay transition and task groups on working arrangements. Rejected. Unite the Union has said the latest offer was weaker than previous discussions, retained the two-tier structure, and didn't address what the union sees as the core issues around fair, consolidated pensionable pay and parity for all drivers. Did you get that?
Looking to make the most of your savings? Conister Bank offer a range of savings options, from fixed terms of 6 months to 3 years to variable rate notice accounts with notice periods of 95 to 180 days. And choose monthly or annual interest, whatever works for you. For the latest rates and an application form, check out conisterbank.co.im. Conister Bank, celebrating 90 years of community, heritage and connection. Here for the journey. All deposits are subject to status, terms and conditions apply. No early withdrawals permitted. Qualifying deposits made with Conister Bank are covered by the Isle of Man Depositors Compensation Scheme as set out in the Depositors Compensation Scheme Regulations 2010.
Is your shed roof in need of replacing and you don't want to pay a contractor? The solution is DIY roof-in-a-box kits with full instructions and warranty from Rubber Roof Shop. For your roof-in-a-box, call 49667.
A great night's sleep got even better with Zed's Bedding Store. From quality Bell-Dorm bed linen and mattress protectors, fleece and woven throws, to luxury duvets from the fine bedding company. Zed's Bedding Ramsey, next to Isle of Man Bank.
Join us at the Mannin Hotel for Around the World Afternoon Tea, Italian edition, on Sunday the 29th of March between 1 and 3, when you'll enjoy a delicious Italian-themed afternoon tea, including mozzarella arancini balls, flatbread pizza, meatballs in sauce, tiramisu, panna cotta and more, with Aperol spritz and unlimited tea or coffee, all at just £27.50 per person. You need to pre-book, so call 602 555 or email restaurants@manninhotel.im.
Are you a small charity here on the Isle of Man? Are you looking for volunteers, hoping to raise awareness and chasing those crucial pounds and pennies to support your work? Well, Manx Radio can help. You could be our next 1 to 3 Charity of the Week. With daily on-air coverage, podcast and social media promotion, we can help support you and those you help. Just email the numbers 123@manxradio.com and listen out for the feature each weekday between 1 and 3 p.m. The Charity of the Week, brought to you by Kell Properties.
The Mannin Line with Andy Wint.
My husband was in Nobles after a fall in November. He was in for a week with a chest infection. He's in his 70s, has cancer, but it's not terminal, and he has no dementia. A week after discharge, we received a DNR letter in the post. That's a do not resuscitate letter in the post, which neither I nor he was aware of. It said he agreed to it early in the morning after admission at midnight. He was confused after several days due to an infection. He didn't know anything about it. In his 70s, has cancer, not terminal, but had a chest infection. A DNR letter. Do you know Anybody who's received one of these and didn't sign it? Unless the cost of reinstating our roads to proper fit-for-purpose standards is included, then the accounts for infrastructure and public finances can't be described as true and fair. Please make this an election issue by informing the public, says Justin. And where's the proof that we are the third safest place to live in the world? Says Texter 121. Isn't that one? I'm sure there was a thing. If you put it into a search engine, the internet never lies. Apparently, it'll be out there somewhere. I'm concerned about this, says Roy B. The new flats in Willaston have cost £250,000 per unit. It seems far too expensive. Well, the news about it is that the flats at Willaston were delivered by Douglas City Council as part of its public sector housing programme. The build has cost £11 million, 48 units, £230,000 per flat, roughly. That figure reflects the full construction costs, including modern energy efficiency standards and site works. In terms of getting your money back, social housing isn't designed as a commercial investment with a set payback date. Rents are set below market levels, and there's no published figure showing a specific time frame to recoup the capital costs through rental income. They're social housing. The council's stated aim is to provide affordable housing to reduce waiting lists and modernise its housing stock rather than generate a profit. It's a social enterprise. The level of spending would have been approved through Douglas City Council's Housing and Finance Committees under their statutory powers, with planning permission granted in the normal way. So there we are. It's a social enterprise. It's not designed to generate a profit. Thank you for more on the Do Not Resuscitates. Anything to add on that, by all means do get in touch. And Mark's on now. Hi, Mark.
Hi, Andy. How are you? You well?
Very well, thanks. A lovely day. That cheers everybody up.
It's a cracking day. Yeah, absolute cracking day. I just wanted to talk about some of the narratives that I've seen on social media with regards to, obviously, the conflict in the Middle East at the moment and the effect on the oil and gas and prices. And the narrative has been peddled, if only we had energy independence with our, renewables or wind turbines, which is... I'm not particularly against wind turbines, but it's real nonsense, because you can only have energy security if you have base load, and at the moment, the only way to get base load is oil and gas or nuclear. And unfortunately, I think I don't think the offshore wind farm is going to happen, and because the government have backed that horse, the gas field is not going to happen. So I think we're going to be stuck in a situation whereby we're not going to have neither the offshore wind farm or the gas or the offshore gas field. But the nonsense about having renewables, because the renewables are intermittent. So basically, in a nutshell, we can live off oil and gas without renewables, but we can't live off renewables without oil and gas. To put it as blunt as that. Right. So it's just, I just find it quite frustrating when people say, well, how energy security by having renewables. Very, very doubtful, unless you've got thermal power, or you can invest in hydro power like in Norway, which is funded by oil and gas. You pardon the pun, you're whistling in the wind,
How much closer do you think it brings the Kroger gas field, or as they're calling it now, the national gas field? If obviously the crisis in the Gulf will obviously affect, and I think it was it Qatar have stopped exports of LPG, the frozen stuff.
Yeah, you're right. Well, China pleaded with Iran not to bomb Qatar because they're so dependent on the LNG. So. Yeah, I think I don't think either the Kroger gas field or the gas field is going to happen now. Obviously, because it's time critical. The gas field is dependent on the UK gas processing plant called Rampside, and that is potentially going to close in 2030. If that closes, then we're going to have no way to process our gas. So very much doubtful that will happen now. It could be done if there was a political will, but there's just not a political will in the current Tynwald. I mean, just to give you a case in point, when David North was Minister of, I can't remember if it was DEF or DOI, he actually got the regulations in place in the Isle of Man, and an exploration exploratory drill happened within, I think it was 12 or 13 months from start to finish, because there was political will at that time. And at the moment, there's no political. We have a very, very liberal, green, ideological Tynwald. I think we all know that, and we recognise that. It's quite a socialist Tynwald as well. As the Treasury Minister came out and said he was a socialist. So I just don't think... I just don't think the gas field's going to happen, unfortunately.
Right. Well, it was David.
I don't think the wind farm.
It was David North, I think, who got the regulations in place, so we could actually. So it became our seabed.
Absolutely, he did that, and he liaised very closely with the UK regulator, and he basically cut and pasted the regulations in the Isle of Man, which allowed the drillers to come in and follow the regulations. So it's basically like saying if you had a plot of land and you didn't have regulations in place, no builder would invest in building that building on that plot of land because there's no regulations. It's as simple as that. And I mean, the Isle of Man seems to copy and paste most rules and regulations, but when it comes to oil and gas offshore development, there seems to be a blockage. So it's a political will, unfortunately. Okay. And unfortunately, and I say this, I'm not so bothered about the aesthetic. Some people are, some people aren't, the aesthetic quality of the wind farms, but I don't think the offshore wind farm will happen either. And the reason why I don't think it will happen is basically, if it happens under the current Labour UK government oversight, well, I can't see a Labour government giving subsidy to an offshore, I'm going to call it an offshore tax haven. Everyone hates it. I can't see that happening, Okay. So I think the government should have backed both horses, both the offshore wind and the oil and gas, but, I unfortunately, I don't think either are going to happen, so we're not going to have energy security.
Okay. All right, Mark, we appreciate it. Thanks for calling today. Thanks for your opinion, and thank you for listening to Mannin Line today. Thanks to producer Chris Quirk. Back with another open line. It's Nick the Pharmacist on Thursday.
WINT